just joining us, this is International Tit Bits and Atlantic Television Network. And now the rest of our stories. At least 18 people were killed and nearly 100 were missing on Thursday after heavy rains caused a Himalayan glacial link in northeast India to burst its banks, the worst such disaster in the region in more than 50 years. Lonak Lake in Sikkim state overflowed on Wednesday, causing major flooding the authorities said had impacted the lives of 22,000 people. It is the latest deadly weather event in South Asia's mountains being blamed on climate change. The Weather Department said Sikkim received 101 millimeters of rain in the first 5 days of October, more than double normal levels, unleashing floods worse than one in October 1968, in which an estimated 1,000 people were killed. The department has predicted heavy rain over the next 3 days in parts of Sikkim and neighboring states. The latest flooding was exacerbated by water released from state-run NHPC's Testa V Dam, local officials said. 4 of the dam's gates have been washed away and it was not clear why they had not been opened in time, a government source told Reuters. As of Thursday evening, 98 people were missing, 17 of whom were Army personnel, State Chief of Secretary V.B. Patak told Reuters by phone. 14 bridges had been washed away, hampering rescue operations already affected by heavy rainfall. Patak said 18 relief camps had been opened on Thursday where food and medical assistance was being provided. As its main atomic complex, probably to extract plutonium that could be used for weapons by reprocessing spent fuel rods, a South Korean news report said on Thursday, citing a government source. The operation of the 5-megawatt nuclear reactor at the castle to the west of London at about 8 a.m. on Christmas Day 2021. Elizabeth, who died aged 96 in September last year, was at the castle on the day of the incident, along with her son Charles and now the King and other close family members. Charles appeared at London's Old Bailey on Thursday, where Judge Nicholas Hilliard said he should be detained in Bradmore top security psychiatric hospital before being sent to prison when he has received the treatment he needs. The judge said Charles had lost touch with reality such that he had become psychotic by the time he entered Windsor Castle, but his responsibility for his offenses was significant. He had conceived of killing the Queen early in 2021 when he was not psychotic. He took steps to try and get closer to his target, and when again he was not psychotic, the judge said. Charles had pleaded guilty in February to NHS Ombudsman has told the Health Trust's chief to withdraw not accurate remarks about him amid an alleged attempt to play down up to 1,000 avoidable patient deaths. Rob Behrens wrote to Stuart Richardson, the head of the Norfolk and Suffolk Mental Health NHS Trust, over remarks he made about him to Norfolk County Council's Health Scrutiny Committee. The councillors on the committee were questioning Richardson's over claims reported by BBC's Newsnight program that his trust had watered down a report into what are thought to be of the avoidable deaths of up to 1,000 patients. The changes between different versions of the document toned down criticisms of the trust leadership, a move that drew criticisms from parents to patient safety failures with a cover-up culture has asked Richardson to retreat his erroneous statement. Well, we'll go straight to the conversation at this moment. And joining us on the conversations is an international affairs analyst, Raymond Ken Mbata. I have to stress it. Thank you for joining us.
It's always my pleasure, Anita.
Western nations' efforts to counter a decade-long Islamist insurgency in the Sahel region. We will begin our disengagement operation this week in good order, safely and in coordination with the Nigerians, the French military headquarters said. The logistics operation to move 1,500 French troops and large amounts of military equipment out of Niger by the end of this year comes a week after the French ambassador left Niger under pressure from the new military regime, which ousted the pro-Paris president Mohamed Bazoum on 26 July, the French president. Emmanuel Macron said on 34th September that France would pull out troops because it would not be held hostage by putschistas. The former colonial power in Niger continues to support Bazoum, and officials in Paris said it was not possible to continue joint operations with Niger forces against insurgents when putschists were run in the country. Macron has called the junta the allies of disorder. French troops have been in Niger as part of a wider fight against jihadists across the Sahel region, with Paris at the forefront of operations against Islamist insurgents in the region for a decade. Now, we understand that since after the coup, the juntas and, in fact, most Nigerians have been calling for the withdrawal of French troops from their borders. And, of course, we know the intentions of the French troops, according to them, in order to fight against the jihadists, of course. But if they are leaving right now, do you think the Nigerians, the Niger force is able to withstand the jihad?
And restart again and get a hold of the security situation than the artificial means and the unstable manner that France has attended to that issue. France has always claimed to be fighting insurgency in Africa. But meanwhile, up to now, there has not been any success report. And, I mean, Wagner and Russian forces just stepped into Central America and the Sahel recently, and they've established some sort of a normalcy, although it's still yet to be seen how far they've gone. But France, since 2013, in Mali, has been fighting insurgency and has not yet been able to do anything concrete. Up till now, the Boko Haram insurgency in northeast Nigeria and also in Chad and in Niger has not brought up any fruits. The French president and French Senate, French authorities as a whole has not really hinted on any victory they've made concerning insurgency. So I think I don't think France can really contain insurgency, and in the vein of Francophone countries in Africa, they feel like we are not supposed to have gotten, because that's the argument is we shouldn't have gotten independence as early as we got independence in the 50s and 60s. France was supposed to be running us at least partially until when we are fully in control. English-speaking countries, I mean, look at Ghana, look at Liberia, Sierra Leone, Nigeria. Yes, we have issues, we have problems, but we seem in control of those problems. And I mean, Francophone countries need to say adieu, France. Let France go and let France leave Africa alone. France has not done any tangible result. There's no tangible thing that France has done in Africa, apart from massive looting of the natural resources of these countries. It is due in Niger right now for them to establish their nationalistic fervor and take control of the security situation there. And put their own footprint there and ask for advice where advice is needed. But
from the opposition, this is not the immediate response needed to solve the mounting crisis in school. We need to see greater ambition in the short, medium, and long term. We have serious reservations about how such a policy could even work. It is not the role of teachers to be making sure children brush their teeth each day. Schools already play a role in teaching children about the importance of looking after their teeth.
That up. Are not in
my days in primary, secondary school, teachers are always looking out for whether or not your school uniforms are clean. So what's the big deal in checking the teeth of the students?
Yeah, the big deal is that it's now going to be made a curriculum. Okay, from 8 to 10 o'clock, make sure you check all the children's teeth. I mean, as in what's the next stuff? I mean, change their dress code. I mean, iron their clothes and all that. The teachers are already overburdened. The teachers have their hands filled up. Their hands are filled up with a lot of things to do, and they have not been able to be encouraging these teachers to be able to finish up their own academic quota of the job. Yes, it's encouraged for them to check on the dentition and the health and all that, but that should be on inspection level and advise parents on what to do, not to be in full charge of bring your teeth, bring your toothbrush, put the fluoride, and right now they're even thinking of fluoridating the drinking water. Of which we don't know how much effect that will have on the digestive system. You're talking of just the teeth, and you want them to start drinking fluoride. I mean, that's a disconnection.
Now, away from this, according to teachers, window dressing policy, where teachers have to be responsible for checking the oral health of their students and pupils, let's look at the policy in itself. Do you think it is essential for the government to be concerned about the oral health of pupils in primary schools?
There should be a concerted effort towards orientation of parents. Because, yes, the children stand to benefit from all this. Yes, it's understandable, but there has to be the right thing at the right time. You get the point? So that the teachers really concentrate on what they ought to be doing. If there's an orientation for the parents, please, these are the standards we need to be met concerning oral health. Please, teachers are going to assist you, but this is your...
and non-curriculum activities. So I don't totally think that asking the teachers to look out for the teeth of their pupils is entirely bad, because while you were talking, I was remembering my days. I remember a couple of times during the assembly, we have teachers go around to inspect the uniforms, and then most times they want to look at your fingernails, and they also want to look at your feet. They want to see, okay, open your mouth, and they're looking, did you brush or did you not brush? It's just